Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel, Miss Young Homeowner. Today we're here with a special guest, Miss Tabitha, who's going to be my soon-to-be neighbor. I'm so excited. We just wanted to take this opportunity to talk to you and see what advice you have for upcoming homeowners, because you are a property owner ×2. So we need all the tips from you, girl. Tell us all the tea, okay? So tell us a little bit about who you are. Like, tell us.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Tabitha. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, and I came to the DC area to go to Howard University, so HU.
The other HU.
And me and Maya actually met because we both worked at Accenture, so I'm in the management consulting field and have been in that field for about 3 years now. And so recently got a home in Houston, Texas, and thought I was moving home, but then came back to the DC area. So I thought, why not rent? Why rent and just maybe go ahead and buy another house?
Yeah. So how old are you? Because like for you to have 2 homes, like that's amazing. How old are you?
Yeah, so 7 days ago I just turned 25. So
yay, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yes, that's amazing for you to have 2 homes at the age of 25. That's crazy. What even made you want to buy a home in Houston? Like, because a lot of people don't even have the idea to buy. They're like, let me get this cute apartment downtown in H-Town. Like, what made you want to do that?
So I feel like with everything, for me at least, it comes down to like a conviction from God, honestly. And I really just like, I don't know, it literally came out of nowhere. I actually was home because my grandmother, who actually took care of me, she got sick and she was like basically on hospice. And so basically I went home and I was taking care of her. And I had some money that I'd been saving up. I had basically been saving like literally $1,000 every month for my paycheck. And I was like, Houston is actually a cheap area, and I had forgot how much I loved Houston, and being, you know, coming back home after you're like 21 and seeing the adult life, I'm like, wow, Houston is a popping area. Like, this might be a great area to buy a house. And so I was looking at prices compared to the DC area, and I was like, well, I should go ahead and buy a house. Like, and I was actually in the mindset of kind of thinking about moving back to Houston at that point to be closer to family. So at that point I was just like, let me go ahead and like look into these houses. And there was a condo in the exact zip code that I grew up in, and it was very inexpensive. So I was like,
why not?
Might as well buy.
It just worked out.
Yeah, it just worked out.
How was that process for you? Was it hard? Did you know what you were doing? Were you overwhelmed?
Yeah, so for me, I just honestly just did a lot of research online. I honestly, there aren't many homeowners in my family, and I didn't know many homeowners. So I did a whole bunch of research online. Like I used Zillow, just like any type of home buyer, like websites. And I'm like I would say a perfectionist, so I literally want to do everything right. And I looked into interest rates, and I just got consumed with like learning about that and like your credit score. And then I looked into like just like the whole process of like condo versus townhome versus like house, and what that meant, what the maintenance was going to be like. And so the process, after like doing a lot of research and finding a good real estate agent, which I actually found on Yelp.
Really?
Yeah, I found my real estate agent on Yelp, and he was like literally the best agent. And when the house is rented out now, and when I came back to like renting the house out, I used the same agent, and he gave me a discount. So kind of like basically keeping your network usually helps as well. So I would say the process wasn't that bad after doing a lot of research, and then just like following it step by step and taking the process pretty slowly. But just taking that risk, it wasn't that bad at all.
Okay. It's like 5 of us that do this, and we all have different stories. Some people are like, it was fine, you know, it wasn't that bad. And then others are like, girl, I need a glass of wine every day to get through. So it's always good to hear that, you know, it doesn't have to be a crazy, heartbreaking, overwhelming process.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And I would say that when I first started looking into the house, like I would say just go with your gut. And honestly, for me, my gut, my conviction, just how I feel in a situation is usually the best ideal or like situation to go with, honestly. So like there was this particular townhome, and it was literally in the zip code that I grew up in, perfect area. And then I looked at it, and then I looked at a whole bunch of other townhomes, and then I came back to that exact same one. So I put a offer in it at first, the first one, and they were selling very quickly in that community. And then once I put an offer in, I kind of like got nervous and decided to back out. But then 6 months came around, and I actually ended up finding another townhome in the same floor plan, and ended up getting that one. So just still works out.
Look at that. What's meant for you is for you. I promise. So from the time that you went back to Houston, thought about buying a house to settlement, what was that time frame? 6 months, a year?
The first time I was looking for the house?
Yeah.
So I already had the house in mind from I would say 9 months, because I had seen the floor plan when I went home, but I wasn't actually ready to purchase the house yet, just because I was just still a little nervous about it. But then coming back, another house came available because I just kept it in my notifications because I love that floor plan, love the community. And so then I put the offer on the house. I would say that was probably 6 to 9 months, just because of me waiting. But then once I put my offer in, I would say that was only 30 days. Because I put the offer in on my birthday. It was actually this time frame where I'm purchasing this house. So literally put the offer in my birthday weekend, just like I'm doing now with this home. And then I'm closing early October, which is exactly what happened literally a year ago.
That is crazy. So a year later, here you are in DC, about to buy another property. How do you feel? Are you proud of yourself? Did you think you would be doing this at 25?
No, and I feel like life is just kind of crazy like that. Just you never know what God has planned for you, or what your future might hold. So for me, I thought I was going to be in Houston and I was fine with moving back home. But that's not what God had planned for me. So then I was back in the DC area for job reasons and just being closer to my network. And I felt like it, DC had a little bit more, metropolitan vibe to it. So came back here and I've been spending $2,000 on an apartment in the middle of DC, and I'm just I'm wasting my money again. This is what I thought I wasn't going to do a year ago. So just came back around, and I'm only 6 months into my lease, but I started to look at homes again just because I would say it's kind of like shoes. I was just looking online, on Zillow.
Before you know it, I want that one.
Yeah. And then I was just oh, this is perfect. And I'm just okay, I'm moving again. And so I've been doing a lot of moving, but hopefully I'm settled at this point.
Has the second process been just as easy as your first time buying a home?
I would say it's actually been a little bit less seamless just because of my lender situation. It's been a kind of a struggle. I don't know if it's the area and the differences with the communication. It hasn't been that great. So I would say that's kind of been a frustrating part of the situation. For me, finding the house hadn't been that bad to me because I enjoy looking at homes, and I had an idea of what I wanted. And so that part's easy for me, but more so the lender, just getting all of the numbers right and making sure that this is the interest rate I want, this is the kind of financial product I want, and this is the payment I want to make, because at the end of the day you're stuck with those payments. And so for me, it was important to find a lender that was gonna meet me at the middle and get me in a place that I could be able to afford my payments.
So what advice would you give to a first-time home buyer, and as well as somebody who is trying to acquire a rental property or their second property? Because you successfully have your rental property in Houston and you're about to move into your home here. So how would you advise first-time home buyers as well as people who want rentals?
So I would say advice for a first-time home buyer, just save your money where you can. Just continue to save, because for me, I felt a larger down payment will just give you a little bit more flexibility. You come into your home with equity, and then also you have the room to have a lower payment each month. So therefore, it's less risk for you, just in case something happens, God forbid, you lose a job, or your expenses go up for whatever reason. You're comfortable with that payment. So I would say save as much as you can. If you can afford to put 20% down on your first home, I would say just put that equity in the home. At the end of the day, you're making a financial decision, and hopefully it's also an investment that you can kind of hold on to and it'll appreciate. Another piece of advice I would give is manage your credit. Make sure that you're paying all of your payments on time. If possible, especially if you're a young homeowner, you're at the beginning of your credit history, so you can have an excellent credit score if you're just paying your payments on time. So I would say those are my two biggest advice for your first home. As far as rental properties, I would say for me, my rental, I didn't buy the home thinking it was going to be a rental property, so it was a little different, but it was great to have that equity in my home because the payments were so low. Right now, my tenants are paying double what my mortgage is, and so with that gives me a lot of flexibility if there is the refrigerator broke down, for instance, that gives me money to, you know, go and have someone come in and look at the refrigerator and be able to have that money versus not knowing where that money would come from. That also gives me money to put back into my savings, or someone can decide to save that and put it towards another home, or you could continue to put extra money down every month into your equity of your home. So that just gives you a lot more flexibility. At the end of the day, you don't want to be stuck in any financial decision that is gonna, you know, limit you, stress you out, and make you and be a financial burden. You want anything that you put your money into to be a tool that you can use to make more money. As far as finding a property, you want to make sure that it's in an area that is rental friendly. So like Houston, I think is a great market because prices are still so low because it's Texas. Like Texas is a cheap market, but Houston is so metropolitan, and because of where my house is, it's inside the loop. It's also by University of Houston, Texas Southern University. So therefore, I can easily get attendance by students, and then also the rent can be a little bit higher because people are expecting to pay higher rent in a metropolitan area. So although sale prices are low, rental prices are high. And so unfortunately DC isn't the same, where rent is high and
everything is high.
Everything is high basically. Like rent is high. To buy a house is even higher. Like my apartment in DC, to buy it probably would be more expensive to buy than just renting, because the mortgage would probably be $4,000 versus my rent being $2,000.
Yeah, that was well said. I think we try to plant the seed of homeownership, and people want to jump online and like look, but it's like before you get there, you gotta save.
Yeah,
you gotta have a savings plan. So how much are you able to allocate to your savings account on a monthly basis? Like saying you saved $1,000 a month, that was kind of what I was doing. Try to save what you perceive your mortgage would be before you buy your house. You know, so you're already used to putting that away. And then credit is such a big deal. Like even if you don't have any credit history, if you're looking to buy a house, you gotta start paying something on credit. You have to have that long-standing showing that you're able to pay off, you know, your credit card or student loan. And did you have to deal with any like credit or debts that you have to pay off while trying to save? Was that difficult to do?
Yeah, so fortunately for me, my students, a blessing and a privilege. My student loans were taken care of prior to having to save, and so I was just focusing on savings, but I was still saving $1,000 a month, so that was like 25% of my income at the time. And so just kind of like taking that to the side and putting that away. If I had my loans, then I would say that would probably have came out of that $1,000. And so, but at the same time, you're paying down your loans, because if you're a first-time home buyer, you have those benefits, and so there are credits and programs, and then there are, you know, loan recovery programs.
Absolutely.
And so there are definitely programs that you can like activate if you have those different debts.
That's great to say. First-time home buyers, you can definitely take advantage of so many things. So do you have any like last tidbits of advice or words of wisdom to partake or to send off? That's not the right word, but to give to young women who are trying to get like you?
I would just say just like go into it. Like going back to my first house, I was super nervous, and it took me like 6 to 9 months just to make the decision and go in and buy the house. And honestly, the payments were like not expensive at all compared to like what my next house is about to be. So like looking back, I wish I would have made the decision sooner. So I would say just take the risk. At the end of the day, like it's a risk and you take it. It's a decision, and majority of the time, if it doesn't work out, you can always sell the house. Like it's, you know, it still can be sold. And so if it ends up not working out, you can always do something else. So I would say just go ahead and like take the risk. I promise you probably won't regret it, and you'll probably feel like it's one of the best decisions, just because you'll be like, wow, like look at me, I did something. And you know, I'm making a business decision, and you'll realize like, okay, I think I want to do this again, because you know, you realize you're putting money back into yourself. It's not like buying a purse where, you know, it appreciates and then you don't have the purse. Like it's a house, and so you can always sell it and have more money.
I think that's great advice. You said some great things: saving, being conscious of your credit, and research. I think people undermine what Google can provide for you. Like, you know, so thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us and giving us your words of wisdom. Is there any way people can get in contact with you if you feel like giving us that information?
Yeah, of course. I'm on the gram at It's Tabitha Grace. It's ITS Tabitha TABITHA Grace GRACE.
All right, thanks, Tabitha. And make sure you stay tuned for more one-on-one interviews with Miss Young Homeowners like Tabitha.